Welcome to another edition of Freelance Discussions. Today I'm going to be talking about public land ethics. I received a comment on a recent video that said, you should make a video on public land. Ethics on public land, how to use public land to your advantage, how far to set up away from hunters, how to find public land, etc. So that got me to thinking that I would love to do a video and just talk about things that happen in the marsh that make other hunters really angry. There's kind of some taboo things that go on in public hunting land that really are hot button topics to a lot of waterfowlers. So I talked to Fumble Mitts and we brainstormed some ideas of what really kind of upset us when we were out duck hunting, and we came up with our top 5 worst sins in public land duck hunting. So let's jump right to it. Here we go. Number 5. Hogging the boat ramp. This is the problem when you get to the boat ramp, you're all excited about your hunt, you want to get on the water, and some guy is sitting down there for 15 minutes goofing around with his boat, prepping it. I think it normally happens when guys either just forget to prep their boat before they back down, or maybe they're the only one at the boat ramp, so they go down there and prep, and you show up right after them. Just the rule of thumb, always do all the prep work for your boat that you need before you back down. When you back down, the only thing you should be able to need to do is drift off into the water and go. That'll make people mad immediately. So that's our number 5 sin. Number 4 public land duck hunting sin, showing up at shooting time. You know, it's really frustrating when you get to the marsh and you're one of the first ones there. You get there really early, you're all set up, ready to go, and right at shooting time, here comes some guy down the boat ramp, putting his boat on, boating all around the marsh, taking 30 minutes to set up. You know, really be there on time. It's in a medium to small sized marsh, a guy showing up at shooting time and boating all around. It just stops everyone's hunt until they're set up. So that's another one that really makes people angry. All right, here's number 3, overcalling. You know, you really don't need to highball and scream at every duck that you see. A lot of people that say, and I can kind of agree sometimes, that less calling is actually more. And then you're in the marsh and you see the ducks getting ready to decoy or circling around on another group of guys. You don't need to try to call those ducks away from them. Have a little respect, you know. I mean, if they're swinging around other hunters, look like that they're approaching to land, just let them go ahead and go in there. There's no reason to be trying to call other ducks off of guys. Wait until they're around you. So that's number 3. Number 2, skybusting. Skybusting is bad for a couple of reasons. It affects everyone in the marsh because there's sometimes where ducks just aren't coming in and committing right away, and they'll circle the marsh multiple times. And those guys that skybust, they're going to shoot at those 60, 70, even 80-yard shots as ducks come over them. It just ruins for everyone. Chances are those ducks are going to land on someone. Don't take those 60, 70, 80-yard shots. You're not hardly ever going to hit them. Chances are you're just going to wing them, and either you're going to not go after your cripple, which I've seen a lot, or you're going to be walking all over the marsh hundreds and hundreds of yards to not find a duck, because you're probably not going to get it. I know some of you guys think that you can hit those range shots, but I'm telling you, it's so much more satisfying if you just get concealed properly, get those ducks in close where you can see them at 20, 25 yards. You're going to kill a much higher percentage, you're going to wound a much lower percentage, and it just raises the enjoyment value. So don't sky bust those birds. And the number 1 duck hunting sin on public land is setting up too close. That can absolutely ruin everyone's day when some guy comes into you and he sets up within 100 yards of you. Now, I can't verify this. I was told this, but I can't verify it. That in the state of Kansas, they were actually talking about creating a law where you could not set up in duck hunting within 200 yards of another party. Now, they didn't pass it, but that kind of set the standard for a reasonable range to set up to another group. So I think that that's a great number, that 200 yards. And sometimes I think here's what happens. Guys walk in and they don't realize how crowded it is. They get clear back in there, and once they're there, they realize there's no space for them. In those situations, you have to just be willing to back out and go somewhere else. I know that's a hard thing to do when you've put in all that time and effort, but when you've come that far and there's no place for you, and don't set up within 200 yards of other people. That's a good standard, that 200 yards. Now, if there's timber and a lot of trees, I think, in my mind, you can kind of shrink that down to 150-ish, because with trees, it just seems a lot like everything's a lot bigger. So anyway, that is our top 5 duck hunting sins. I would love to hear your comments. Are there things that I didn't put on the list that you think should have been there? How do you like the order? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How would you have ordered them? And also any other things you'd like for me to talk about, I would love to talk about them, so comment on those down below. Make sure to subscribe and go back and check out my old videos.